talked all night, we'd stay up, it felt so right. We were so young, we were so dumb. We would get drunk and then hook up. We were okay, we were alright. Staying awake till the sunrise. We were in love, couldn't stop us. Like a good drug, never run. We hook up in my car, drive it so far. Play your guitar, you'd show me your art. Let down our guards, think with our hearts. Stare at the stars, we were never apart. Drinking too young, way too much fun. Out in the sun, or rain when it's gone. Took you to prom, dance to our song. Dance all night long till the lights come on. Late now, I remember everything, and how careless we could be, and how careless we could be, and how careless we could be. Nights, long fights, it felt right, we were alive. We would go out, we were so loud, we were so proud, we had no doubts. Weekends and weekdays, we'd spend our own way. We were careless, we were fearless, we were reckless, time was precious. We loved to waste time, whiskey and wine, drinking all night, asleep by your side. Finally alive, we would just drive, never arrive. Our journey was live, staying out late, testing our fate, running away. We live for today, young and so bold, never get old. Screw what we're told, we can't be controlled. It's too late now, I remember everything, and how careless we could be, and how careless we could be, and how careless we could be.
Switch. Soakstar.
Alright, let's get into it. We'll go over
The gear and the stats first. Obviously crossbow with the new flat lightning runes. Or 1 to 60. It's, I think, the biggest scaling damage you can get on the crossbow for this build. We did end up getting one with proj skills and crit. Crit is the most important piece for bossing, but we'll get into that later. Increased elemental damage. The other two flats are kind of tragic. I wish I would have been able to get a better one, but the crossbows this late in the league are really expensive. So we're working with what we got. We've got the fix all res ring. The other stats, I mean, the mana's nice, which we're scaling mana. We've got attributes and flats because we're stacking int. Amulet. We've got mana, percent mana, proj skills, mana regen, which get into in a little bit. Very difficult to get any sort of mana regen with this build. Ingenuity, which I've been debating swapping this, but it's not important. The Hoa, because we're int stacking. We have 530 int, so that's giving us a lot of flat damage just from the gloves alone. Tooltip kind of lies, but I mean, we take gloves off, we lose 30k on just the projectile, not even the pulse. The pulse is a lot more. The pulse is 454,000. Take gloves off, we lose 150,000 essentially. So the gloves are nice. I don't know if they're necessary, but typical boots. More int, more mana. Decent move speed, not perfect. And then the build, the mask. It's kind of like Archmage, but for attacks. Attacks have added maximum lightning damage per 9% of max mana, and they also cost an additional 6% of your mana. The whole ideal behind this build was to get this mask to work without playing Lightning Spear. And anything but Lightning Spear, you know. Best thought I could come with was crossbows, because only the reload cost mana, and actually attacking doesn't cost mana like it does with bow skills, so we're kind of avoiding the attacks cost 6% of your max mana. Like that would be a huge problem. But we're getting away from that altogether by using crossbow skills, right? Defenses, they look low, obviously. Like we're running CI, so we're immune to all chaos. We have 1 life, only like 400 energy shield, but we are running MoM. So we do have our huge mana pool to fall back on, which is actually it's a lot of defense in its own. Obviously stacked, or we're capped on all res. Playing with the tree, you can get to evasion cap. I didn't think it was necessary. We kind of full clear, and then if we get hit by anything big, our mana saves us, and we're fine. Like defenses, they look small, but with MoM, it's totally fine. Let's get into the skill gems. So for bossing, it's Shockburst Rounds, which we're relying solely on the pulse damage. It says pulse damage is doing 0.5 mil, but when we've got shock and everything on the target, it pops out at about 2 mil per second. So that was the biggest hurdle, was single target damage, because we're running Galvanic. We're running Galvanic Shards for clear. Again, tooltip looks a little low, but I mean, it's scaling off the beam. And again, if you pop it, it's a lot more damage. It's like 400k or something a second. Like it clears like you did. It doesn't matter what the tooltip says for that. But I mean, you saw from the clips, we're running martial tempo, primal armament, fork, lightning infusion, and mobility. Mobility just makes it feel a lot smoother. You can play with it. You can take it off. It doesn't matter. Conductivity, typical for bossing. Voltaic mark, again, that's only for bossing. I rarely ever press it in maps. But we are running coursing current, arcane tempo, lightning mastery, and persistence. For bossing, we're using Stormcaller arrow just to get the shock, because its bolt has a ridiculous, like, this is the most amount of chance for shock in the game. You can't get anything more than this. It's guaranteed shock. Running lightning exposure, strip away, conduction, lasting shock, and stormfire. And I'm running stormfire because on conductivity I'm running burning inscription, so this is leaving burning ground under the conductivity, which it keeps the boss ignited, and as long as the boss is in the fire and is ignited, the shocks don't expire, which is really nice because it doesn't start ticking for the duration until they're not ignited anymore, which makes the shocks last very long. Running typical Wind Dancer, Herald of Ash, Herald of Thunder, Magnified Effect, Clarity for Mana, Magnified Effect, Neural Overload, Electrocute, Reach, Innervate. Innervate's really nice for clear. It's just adding the extra 35% of your damage. Let's see, Shockburst. We've got Martial Tempo, Concentrated Effects, Elemental Focus, Fresh Clip, and Lightning Infusion. You'll see a lot of these are doubled up because we are running Gemling, so we can run two of the same supports. And then Emergency Reload with Premeditation and Murderous Intent. These two actually add a lot of damage for Shockburst, but it's irrelevant because we only use that like once a boss fight anyways. Let's go over the tree. So like I said, we are Gemling, so we can run the same support gems. And we're also getting stacking for each different color supports. It's the most damage increase for the tree. I was debating going here for extra skills, but this is a bigger damage increase. And then we came up here for double the inherent bonuses from attributes because we are mana stacking. So we have a little bit less int, but it's doubling the mana. So instead of 2 mana per int, we're getting 4 mana per int. And then we came down. This is a typical like attribute stacker. We come grab this, and then we just go around the tree in a big circle. We had to get the MoM. And then we took all the big magnitude of shock, shock duration, pen. We've got this anointed lightning damage per 10 int, just adding to the int stacking. Increased lightning damage, more int, more maximum lightning damage. This synergizes really well with the helmet. Adding to the top end, and then crit, more crit. This is just for bossing. I was playing around with not scaling into any crit whatsoever, and it's fine for mapping, but just it's really hard to scale any kind of single target without crit. So that's why we're running crit. More crit over here. We are running a From Nothing with flat mana and int. Stun Threshold is just nice, but it's mainly just for this. More elemental damage. Evasion, just for the int, honestly. This is very nice because we are running the Herald of Fire or Herald of Ash and the Lightning Herald, so we're getting extra damage from here. The fire damage isn't too much, but we are scaling a little bit off of that from our crossbow, because we do have a fire line on there, and I think we have we don't have a fire line on our ring. Okay. So it's not a ton of value, but I mean, it's mainly for the lightning damage. Obviously, we're just scaling it all into lightning damage. Skill speed is really nice for the reloads and attack speed. And then lightning rod. This is just because we are scaling the top end of our max lightning damage so much that it's everybody knows there's a big disparity between bottom end of lightning damage and top end of lightning damage. So lightning rod is very nice for this, because we're not perma-critting. We don't have, I think we're at like 50% crit or something like that. This is also not correct, this line here, because this doesn't account for the Gemling, this node here. This gives us a lot of crit chance per socketed blue support gem that we have, but that doesn't calculate in here, and that's why if you look at this versus the PoB damage, it's so different, because the actual crit chance is much higher. Let's see, we can cover jewels. I didn't go crazy on the jewels. These are they just stuff that I had in my stash. Lightning damage, crit chance, crossbow damage. I think we've got, this is really you only need one of these. This is really important for mapping, for clear, because if you get hit with a big hit and it chunks your mana, you instantly recover all your mana with one screen clear. So this one's nice. I'm sure you could get better rolls other than the mana and the elemental damage, because we don't really care about recovery for energy shield. We're running so small energy shield. And then obviously against the darkness that I covered, more crit damage crossbows, reload speed. Just, it feels very nice to have extra reload speed. It makes the mapping feel better. Again, kind of a generic jewel I had for crit and trying to get a little bit of mana regen. Elemental damage, crit, more mana regen, elemental damage. The gems aren't anything crazy. This is the only like mandatory gem in this entire setup, which these are like 1 or 2 chaos or something like that. These are incredibly cheap. And it's just getting this node so you can pick up all of these for free without traveling, because there's so many nodes to travel to these. It's just not worth it. And then more attack damage, elemental damage, and attack speed with crossbows. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything. Fairly simple, very simple build. Pretty cheap, other than obviously getting rings with flats is you just got to craft something. It's impossible this late in the league, but if you can get something with flats and attributes, it's really nice. Weapon set 2, definitely use a better bow for this, but we're literally only using this for Stormcaller arrow. That's the only thing this is being used for. So it's not really important that you get a crazy second weapon set. This is the only important one.